Hello students, today I will teach about class 10 Our Environment chapter. Now, what is environment? The biotic and abiotic factor that have surrounded any living organism that called environment. That means what we see around us, the biotic component like living organism and abiotic component like physical factor like temperature, rainfall, wind, soil, minerals, all togetherly known as environment. And in organism and physical surrounding interact with each other and maintain a balance in nature. Now we have to know that what is ecosystem. All the interacting organism, living organism in a particular area togetherly interact with each other, and they also interact with the non-living constituent and form ecosystem. Now, how many types of ecosystems are there? Ecosystem are two types: natural ecosystem and artificial ecosystem. Natural ecosystem, there are ponds, forest, lake, etc. Human-made or artificial ecosystem, garden, crop field, aquarium, all the things are known as human-made or artificial. Aquarium is a self-sustainable system because it includes biotic factors like fishes, aquatic plant, animal, and abiotic factors like free space, water, oxygen, food. And in a particular area, the organism, which are living organism, which are grouped into different group. Like producer, basically they can produce food for a particular area or for or itself. And consumer, which take nutrition from the producer, and decomposer, basically decompose producers and consumer after their death and take nutrition. Now, what is producer? They make their food from the inorganic compound like carbon dioxide, water, and the example of the producer you all know that the green plants and some bacteria. The organic compound like sugar, starch from inorganic substance, they basically use solar radiant energy in presence of chlorophyll, and we all know that the process is known as photosynthesis. Now, what are the consumer? Consumer that directly or indirectly dependent on the producer for food, and they consume the food from producer or by feeding on them the consumer. There are different types of consumer. Number one, the primary consumer, basically grasshopper, rabbit, deer, etc. They directly take nutrition from the plant. Then carnivore or secondary consumer, they're basically example frog, tiger, lion, etc. They basically take nutrition from the primary consumer. Tertiary consumer, they are the take nutrition from the secondary consumer. Or final consumer or top consumer, they take nutrition from the previous consumer. Now, carnivore basically they basically eat meat. Omnivore they can take plants and meat, and parasite they are dependent upon these all type of primitive organism like herbivore, carnivore, omnivore, all type of organism, and basically they harm them. Now decomposer basically break down dead remains, waste products and organisms, and complex organisms into simple inorganic substances. Inorganic substances go into the soil and are used by the plant. That means the decomposer take nutrition from the producer and consumer, and they transport all the simple compound into the soil, and plant take nutrition. As a result, this cycle go on. In a unclean aquarium, fishes and plants are died. The microorganisms that are the decomposer like bacteria, fungi break down the dead remains and waste product of the organism. If decomposer are absent, the garbage, dead animal and plants will not decompose. Like in very low temperature, in the Everest region or in a very cold region or very hot region, decomposer cannot grow. It leads to accumulation of the organic matter causing pollution. Now, what is food chain and food web? The food chain is the series of organisms feeding on one another or organism taking part at various biotic level. In this diagram, you can see plant take nutrition from the soil by the help of sunlight and chlorophyll. They are the producer. The plant is taken by primary consumer. Primary consumer is taken by secondary consumer to tertiary consumer to final or top consumer. Then the nutrition goes into the decomposer. This is the food chain. That means nutrition is transferring, energy is transferring from a series of process. Now, each step or level of the food chain from a trophic level. If you see here, the plant is eaten by deer and deer is eaten by tiger. And here plant to insect, insect to frog, frog to snake, snake to eagle. Here the small plant to scorpion, then fish, then bird. Each level, every level is known as trophic level. And the organism which can make their own food, this is the autotrophs. This is the first trophic level. This is the second trophic level, third trophic level, fourth trophic level, or fifth trophic level. Small carnivore are basically secondary consumer, the third trophic level here, and large carnivore, the tertiary consumer, or the top consumer, fourth or fifth trophic level. Another thing, the food, we all know that the food is the fuel of provide energy. Thus, the interaction among the various components involve flow of energy. That means the energy transfers from the higher trophic, from the lower trophic level to higher trophic level. We all know that in a food chain, producer is present basically in the basal level. The producer transfer energy into the primary consumer. By the help of secondary consumer, primary consumer is eaten and energy is transferred, and so on. An autotroph captures solar energy and convert into the chemical energy. And from autotroph, energy goes to the heterotroph and decomposer. And this is the straight line. This is the unidirectional process. The study of the flow of energy. Now you can see, I previously told about the trophic levels, the producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. Green plant in a terrestrial ecosystem capture about 1% of the solar energy that is absorbed by the leaves, and this energy is converted into food energy. And this 1% energy is enough for the producer. And this producer transfer 10% of its energy to the primary consumer. Secondary consumer absorb only 10% of the energy of primary consumer, and tertiary consumer absorb only 10% of the secondary consumer. That means if producer contain 10,000 joule energy, primary consumer only get 1000 joule, secondary consumer get 100 joule, and tertiary consumer get 10 joule. Then in every stage, 90% energy goes to environment and 10% energy is transferred to next trophic level. That means each trophic level get only 10%. This is known as 10% Lindemann formula in energy formula. You can see here there are different organisms are there and they produce a wave-like structure. And you can see here many food chains are there. And we all know that only one food chain can't live in a particular area. In a particular area, thousand type of organisms are there and they can interact with each other. And this interaction of food chain is known as food web. That means what is the features of the food chain? The energy flow is unidirectional, from sunlight to producer, producer to herbivore, herbivore to carnivore, carnivore to top carnivore. And it does not revert back from the autotroph to sun. That means it does not go from top consumer to producer. That means autotroph to sun or consumer to autotroph.